Get ready for a take. Mark it. Action.
Come on, guys.
Good evening and welcome to the University of Lincoln's Virtual Open Day. This evening we are here and we are going to introduce you to the University of Lincoln. If you've never been here, you'll be seeing a little bit of footage around the city, and also in an hour's time at 6 o'clock you can go across to your course subject session so that you can find out about the course as well. Just going to introduce myself. I'm Emma, I'm your host for this evening, and in the next hour we are going to have a touch point of all sorts of parts of the university and you're applying to university. So we are firstly going to go and visit our accommodation and have a chat with Vicky and have a little walk around there. At the moment Tina is introducing all of our accommodation, which is across the city, and you can see this is Signet Wharf that we're showing, and this is St Mark's, and they are as close as this to the university. So there's a whole host of accommodation that is here. First and foremost, before I say hi to you, Vicky, please in the chat function on YouTube, say hi. Please say hello to us. Please ask your questions. We want you to get the most out of this next hour as you possibly can. We know applying for the university can be quite daunting and lots of things to think about. So quickly tell us where you're from, where you're travelling from, where you're viewing from. I can see quite a few people. Hi Mia, hi Izzy, Emily, Eve, Ellie, Joshua, hi to you all. Tell us where you're from though, and you might be surprised. Jeannie is from Birmingham, so we would need to know if there's anybody else from Birmingham watching today, and Leeds, brilliant, and from Lincoln, that's even better, very close to our heart, and Wembley, brilliant, fabulous. Hi to Pippa, and hi for Heather in Devon and Nottingham, London, brilliant. Keep those messages coming through, keep speaking to us over the next hour, and in the meantime we will do a bit of showing and showcasing Lincoln to you. So Vicky, hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. So
I'm good, thank you.
Tell us where you are.
So I am in one of our accommodations. I am in the Lincoln Courts show flat. So I'll give you a little tour and then any questions about the accommodation and give you any information you might need to know applying for next year. So I'm still in the Lincoln Courts living area. So behind me you can see the sofas. So this is a 6-bedroom apartment, one of the Lincoln Court apartments, and you get 2 sofas and your table in the living room. Unfortunately at Lincoln Court you do not get a TV, but in all the other accommodations you do get a TV included in the communal lounge, and then we also provide a TV license as well. And then just opposite the living area you have the kitchen. So everything you see in the kitchen, apart from our lovely little bits to dress it, is what you will get in your accommodation. So you'll get your sinks, you'll get your cupboards, your kettles. We do not provide toasters, but we do provide the microwaves, the fridges, the freezers, oven. And as you can see, this is enough space for 6 students to share. So you can cook together or you can cook separately, and you get plenty of fridge and freezer space for you and all of your flatmates. As you can see, they are quite big fridge freezers.
Brilliant.
And then you also get some basic cleaning equipment. So we provide you with a hoover, an ironing board, a mop bucket, and little bits and bobs. So you don't need to bring all of this yourself. If you did want to, for example, bring a toaster or anything like that, when you have found your flatmates online, once you've accepted your offers, we'd recommend maybe speaking about what everyone is going to bring, because on some of the spaces there is a limited space and you don't want 6 toasters on the side. You could just have one and decide who brings that for you.
Nobody wants 6 toasters.
No one needs 6 toasters, but it's always helpful to have one if you don't want to use the grill. And then you also get the communal table where you can study, eat together, play board games, whatever you fancy. You've got your table and communal space to chill with your new flatmates when you come to accommodation and move in. But yeah, this is just one of our 6 accommodations. All of them look slightly different, but they are similar in style. And you can look online on our Instagram or on the Facebook page or the university website and find detailed 360 tours and imagery of all of our other accommodations. So we're going to give you a quick glance at a bedroom as well, so you can see what that is like. So this is an example of one of the university accommodation bedrooms. Lincoln Courts is the only accommodation that has a single bed. All of the other accommodations have 3/4 beds.
Oh, you just lagged on me, Vicky. Hopefully you'll come back any second now. This is one of the bedrooms, and I think what Vicky was telling us was that in Lincoln Courts we have single beds, but in all of our university accommodation, other accommodation like St Mark's, Signet Wharf, and 179, we have 3/4, like small double beds. Well, you're back, Vicky. You're back.
No, it's fine. Yes, as Emma just said, Lincoln Courts is the only one with a single bed, and everywhere else has 3/4 beds and surrounding bed storage as well. And then we have, each room will have their own desk and drawers, look slightly different shapes and sizes, but you do get all the same things, just slightly different. And then you also get a wardrobe. So in some of the accommodations, the wardrobes are slightly bigger than others. So some will have the double with the cupboard at the top, whereas others will have shelving above or just a storage cubby as well. And then there is an ensuite wet room as well for reference. So the Lincoln Courts is the only one with a bathroom like this. The others do all have on normal ensuite rooms with a separate shower, toilet and sink, but Lincoln Courts does have a wet room. And Lincoln Courts is also the only accommodation that offers some non-ensuite rooms. So there's about 100 of these, and you would only be offered one of these if you apply for one of these accommodations.
Amazing, thank you very much. We've got a couple of questions already, Vicky, if you're prepared to sort of answer those as we go. I know you're going to hopefully show us another of the bedroom opposite as well, but we'll just have a couple of questions. So one of the questions that we have from Adam is, are these apartments all for undergrad students?
So the one I'm showing you right now for Lincoln Courts, all undergraduate students can stay here through all years of study. So you could be staying here as a first year all the way through to postgraduate as well. We offer accommodation for all years of study.
Brilliant. And one of the other the question from Jeannie was, do you have disability rooms in Lincoln Courts? Thank you.
Yeah, so we have accessible rooms at all of our accommodations. They all have slightly different specifications and different things fitted for different needs, but we'd recommend you going through the wellbeing team to make an application, to speak to them, and then make an application with us directly, and then we would allocate you to a room that is best suited to you and your needs.
Brilliant. And we've got a question from Sam. Is it comfy on the chairs? Which I'm guessing you will say yes, Vicky.
I'm going to say personally yes. Like, it's quite soft, so yeah, I would say yeah.
Fabulous. One of the other questions that I've just got is, do we share with people from the same course or age? Now that's a really good question, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. So we try to allocate you as close to the year of study. So say if you're an 18-year-old, we try to allocate you with other 18-year-olds. If you're a more mature student, where possible, we'll try to allocate you with more mature students. And yeah, so we try our best to allocate with any preferences in mind. So when you submit your application, if you put those preferences in, we'll try our best to allocate you with those in mind.
One of the other questions that we've got from Alex is, will you be able to get an ensuite room if you have a medical condition?
So I would definitely recommend putting an application in, and most of the accommodation is ensuite. So you will be able to, if you put an application in, it is very likely that you would get an ensuite room. The only rooms that are not ensuite are Lincoln Courts, and you would only get them if you apply for them. And we also do have some limited studio rooms available, which also have the ensuite bathroom. So what I'd recommend is putting your application in, putting in that you want ensuite accommodation, and then potentially also speaking to the student wellbeing team just in case, and make sure it's flagged on our system to make sure that you get what you need.
And we will be chatting to the student wellbeing team in a few moments as well. So fabulous. A couple more questions that we've got as well is Josh has asked about gosh, there's so many questions, I'm sort of losing them all, but one is around gosh, I'm going to have to go back so that I don't get Josh and Ruby's questions mixed up. That was it. Joshua has asked, is there security? And there is, isn't there? But I'll allow you to answer.
There is. All of the accommodation is covered by the on-campus security team, and there is CCTV around all of the accommodations, so it is really safe. And if there ever are any issues, you can just speak to the security team and they will be able to help and advise.
And Ruby has asked, are there parking spaces at the accommodations?
So the only accommodation that offers car parking is Valentine Court. So if you needed a car for placements or anything else, I'd recommend that you'd apply for Valentine Court, but we do not offer car parking at any of the other accommodation sites.
And the big question is, how do you book your accommodation? Which I'm sure everybody really wants to know, but I think we only had one question actually on it.
Yeah, definitely. So once you have accepted your offer with the University of Lincoln, you should receive a link via email to you that will tell you how to apply for accommodation. So applications for returners opens in the next few weeks, but new undergraduate applications will be open very, very soon as well. So once you've accepted your place as your firm choice, you'll be able to make an application. And then a few months afterwards, we will respond to your offer and let you know where you've been allocated and advise you on the process from there. But it's all done on the website and the university website, and you'll receive an email when the applications are open. And I'm sure it'll be everywhere on social media as well for you to see.
Certainly will. Yeah. But you definitely need to sign up to all of our social media if you're joining us tonight. That is my big recommendation, because everything valid over this next period will be on our social media sites, either accommodation or obviously our main University of Lincoln sites as well. We've got another question of when do you have to submit your application?
Very good question.
Yeah.
We'd always recommend doing it as soon as you're able to, because then you are more likely to get one of your top preferences when you submit your application. Some of our accommodation sites aren't very big, so some of them are only 200 or 300 beds. So if that is the site that you are after and it might be popular, it might fill up quite quickly, but we do reserve rooms as well for late applications. But I would always recommend booking as soon as you can and as soon as you're ready to avoid disappointment if there is an accommodation that you really want. But personally, I think they're all great, so you're fine.
Absolutely. And one of the questions that really sort of tags on to that is from Lauren Bell. Do you need to select your roommates?
So no, you don't need to select your roommates. So you can submit your application and then we will allocate you with other students, not necessarily students on the same course. But if you know someone that is coming to the University of Lincoln, or you meet them online through any of the various social events or anything, you can, on your application, you can request to live with them, and then we can try our best to allocate you with those people.
And a question from Ashley, which I'll answer, Vicky, so you can save your voice for just a second. Will parts of the evening be recorded in case we miss them? Absolutely, Ashley. That's why we are sort of playing this on YouTube, so that actually you can re-watch, re-record and re-record, go back and watch little parts if you miss them. I'm sure you'll stay with us the whole time, but yes, you can, and you can refresh your memory if you've got a question and you're not sure if we gave that answer tonight. So please, yeah, absolutely. I've got a question from Hayley, I think it will be. How many different accommodations are there?
So there's 6 different accommodation sites, and then at some of the sites we offer studio rooms as well as ensuite rooms. So there's a limited number of studio rooms at 179 High Street and Viking House. So this is where you get your own kitchenette, your bedroom and your bathroom all in one small contained unit. and all the rest of the accommodation is en suite like the ones we've shown you today, just slightly different styles.
Got another question. What if you share rooms with students who drink, however you do not?
So on your application, when you have received an offer from us, you can request to potentially be in a flat with non-drinkers or anything like that. But if you come into accommodation and you find that you are allocated with people who drink and you don't, and there causes any issues or you're not comfortable, we can look at offering a room move or anything like that. But we can always offer some kind of support to try and accommodate your requesting or needs, whether that's prior to arrival or once you have arrived and you're struggling with anything.
We have the amazing resident warden team as well. So actually we have resident wardens that work across all of our university accommodation and things like that. You can just tip off if there's something you don't feel comfortable about, then these are a group of postgraduate students that are postgraduate students here at Lincoln, and you can just actually have a conversation with those in confidence if you need just little things resolving at an early stage, can't you? So that's another sort of session that we something that we offer. Next question from Laura is, could you have someone stay over if visiting?
Yes, of course. You are allowed visitors. We just ask that you are responsible for your visitors. So if anything happens, you are liable, but you're allowed your friends to come visit you from home for the weekend. So we're pretty good with that. We just don't ask that it's more than 3 or 4 days a week.
Exactly. Adam has asked a really good question. In terms of money, is there much variation in terms of pricing, and how does the school monitor payments? I'm guessing you mean the university. But I guess really it's sort of how can you pay for your accommodation, which is a really, really important question when you're choosing your choice of accommodation and when you're choosing university, really.
Yep. So Lincoln Courts is the most affordable accommodation, and that which starts from around, looking for the right prices now, £95 per week, and then it goes up to Signal Wharf, which is the most expensive, which is £180 per week. This should all be on the website if it's not already in the next couple of weeks. And when you accept your offer, you'll be able to set up a payment plan, and then it will just be taken by either direct debit, bank transfer, or any other method, depending which one suits you best.
Fabulous. Couple more questions. So thank you. We've got ensuite rooms start at £105 per week, which I think is probably another question lots of people are thinking. So thank you, Harriet, for answering there in the background. There's so many questions to get through, so we need a bit of support from Harriet in the background, don't we? One of the questions, and thank you, Kelly, because you have answered this already. How close is the accommodation to the city centre? And hopefully during the next hour you will see from some video footage how close everything is. But give an example, Vicky, as to how close you are in that accommodation to a lecture.
Sadly, it's not bright enough, so we actually can't show you how close we are, but we are probably no more than 4 or 5 minutes walk away from some of the main buildings in campus. The Minerva building is probably, depending on how quick you walk, 5-minute walk maximum. So everything is pretty close, and the furthest accommodation is a 10-minute walk at most, again, depending how fast you walk.
It absolutely is, and depending on where your class is, you could be much less than that, without questions. 179 High Street, if you are a business student, literally I would say it's a minute walk. So yeah. One of the questions from Rachel is there catered accommodation?
No, unfortunately not. All the accommodation at the University of Lincoln is self-catered, but there are catering outlets on campus and so many restaurants and everything so close by. So if you don't fancy cooking, there is so many options in Lincoln to go out and explore, and supermarkets are so close as well. So it's great.
Supermarkets are super close. Deliveroo, we've got our own on-campus catering outlets as well. So you're absolutely going to find plenty of food around Lincoln. Lots of little places to go and visit as well whilst you're here. I'm coming up, I know we've got to sort of move on, but there's so many questions because we're going to speak to Danielle from the Student Wellbeing Centre in a second. But there's loads of questions coming through. Keep please keep sending your questions through to us, because Harriet will be here all for the next hour to ensure that we're answering those questions, so they won't be missed, I can assure you. One of the questions is, which again is one that I think is really important, and I know we get asked this a lot: are we allowed to stay in uni rooms over holidays?
Yes. So the room is yours from the contract start date to the contract end date. So if you would like to be here over Christmas, over Easter, then you are more than welcome to. You would just need to depart the accommodation by the contract end date.
Brilliant, thank you, because I think that's there. And then Sophie has asked, are you able to apply for the same room each year?
Yep, so you can make an application and you can request to stay in the same room for the next academic year. We can't always guarantee it because some of the block uses change or anything like that, but where possible, we will try our best to allocate you to the same room or the same room type in the same accommodation.
Brilliant. And one final question from Megan: is there specific accommodation for people with healthcare placements?
So normally, well, this year we were able to allocate all students who are studying healthcare to get healthcare courses together. So, but they are spread across all of our accommodations. So you're not stuck with one particular accommodation. I know that sometimes Valentine Court is the most popular because of the car parking, but you can apply for any accommodation that you wish to. You don't have to apply for one or the other for your specific course.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Vicky. And you're here throughout, and you can the accommodation team will be able to answer, and just keep looking out for when that accommodation is open. And I've already seen that we've got Maisie on the chat earlier who received her offer today for criminology. So congratulations to you, Maisie. But that also means that hopefully you will soon be in a position to apply for your accommodation with us, which is exactly what we want. And then you can concentrate on your studies and know that everything's sort of ready to go. Thank you so much, Vicky. As ever, amazing. Brilliant tour. Thank you very much. And we are going to say goodbye to Vicky. And now we are going to move across to say hello to Danielle from the Wellbeing Centre. You will see our more views of our campus. This is our campus. This is how close we are. This is the city centre, and the water is Brayford Pool. Which is why we are called the Brayford Pool campus, because we are literally that close to the water, and it is absolutely beautiful and stunning in the summer. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good, thank you.
Good.
So give us a little bit of an overview, really, of who are Student Wellbeing.
Sure, yeah, so we are a little bit of what it says on the tin. We're here to support students throughout their studies, the whole time they're here, with managing wellbeing, mental health, and we're also the disability service at the university. So for any students who may already have a diagnosed condition, whether that be specific learning difference, autism, ADHD, a physical disability, hearing impairment, visual impairment, anything long-standing, you know, we're the people here to support you, but also likewise the people to support students who maybe don't have a diagnosed condition and at some point in their studies may be experiencing distress or anything that's gone on in their personal life or anything in relation to academic stress or concerns that's just impacting them day to day. We're the people I suppose to come and have a chat to.
Amazing. And you are an incredible team who work around the clock, sort of actually supporting our students, don't you? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can walk in and nothing will faze this team. I can absolutely assure you of that. They are absolutely brilliant, and they are located on campus. So where exactly are you located on campus? That's probably a really good question, really.
Sure. So we're right next to the University Health Centre and the Student Union Swan pub on campus. So we're close to the Minerva building, which is the main building on campus. We always have flags up outside the building where you'll be able to see us. But, if you're ever kind of stuck for where to find us, just ask someone on campus. Everyone's usually pretty friendly, so they'll direct you to where we are. But yeah, we're really kind of central on campus, so easily located and accessible.
Brilliant. I've got loads of questions coming through already, Danielle. So if it's okay, we'll start asking. I'll start asking, so you can start answering some questions. We've got a question. Do you often help people who have had a bereavement of a parent or parents? So I guess it's sort of grief.
Yeah. So we can support students who have experienced grief and loss. So at the Student Wellbeing Centre, we offer daily drop-ins. So it may be that if you've experienced something, you come along to a drop-in. So they're 12 till 2 every day. And you might come along and have a chat with an advisor like myself. There's a big group of us, all really friendly, all really approachable. And, it's just an opportunity for you to talk about the impact on you, and we'll discuss kind of, it's a two-way thing, what type of support you're looking for. We do have referrals to external services. So St Barnabas is a really great charity for bereavement. We've got Take Our Hand that we can refer to as well. So, if you need any support in that area and you want to find out information, or even if you just want to talk about it, just coming and seeing us is a great first port of call, really.
It is, it absolutely is. We've got a couple of questions about autism. Joshua has already, not already, but I'm going to pick Joshua's question out. I have autism. What do you do to help support autistic people socially?
Okay, so we offer a range of in-person workshops or online skills groups around sometimes building confidence, which can help you in social situations, managing relationships. We also have a group called Manuel, which is for male students, which tackles kind of topics that, people may find kind of a joint difficulty in. So maybe kind of approaching social situations, building social skills. So we can work on those things with you. And we also kind of, again, have links into external services that may help you with that. We always encourage, joining society. Sometimes just pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone can actually sometimes be really helpful. But again, drop-in is a really great service that we offer for you to utilise. So anytime you feel that you want to talk about, I need help in social situations, come along to drop-in. We'll suggest something. You can try it. If you try it and you find it's not really worked, no problem, come back and we'll look at other options. We've got counselling as well, sometimes accessing counselling to explore, what you want help with in terms of social situations. That can be another great opportunity as well. So, we've just got such an array of support. It's just come along and see what you want to try and what's helpful.
And one of my questions really is, before you start at university, obviously sometimes there can be situations where you're quite nervous about familiarising yourself and navigating yourself around the university. So tell me about WOW Week, Danielle.
Yes, so we offer something in the summer called WOW, which stands for Wellbeing Orientation Welcome. So that's open to prospective students to the university. So you'd need to have an offer from the university to come along. But what it is, it's free and you get to stay in student accommodation for 2 nights and experience 3 days on campus. So we'll set up a timetable. You'll get to try things like a taster lecture, get used to kind of the campus, visit, the city. Sometimes we put on like social events. We might go for dinner one night. You get to meet other prospective students who are going to be joining the university who may have a diagnosis of autism, mental health. You may not have a diagnosis, but just be nervous about the transition, nervous about socializing and meeting people. So it's there to help ease the transition, really. So if that's something that anyone is interested in, you can just contact us at Student Wellbeing or also look on our website. All the information's on there already, and we will already be accepting places for WOW, so we call it WOW. And it's so much fun. It's really great. I love being involved in it every year. And you know, the students who come along to it always seem to do so well. Once they actually come to university, they say how much it's helped them. I mean, we used to have a student, James, who did so much work with you, didn't he? And he was a wowzer. Yeah, and then he did 4 years at uni here, and he said that it was one of the best things he ever did. So if you are a little bit nervous about coming to uni, struggle a bit with socialising, you might feel a bit anxious, WOW is definitely something to consider.
James is an absolute shining example of somebody that came to WOW Week and he left by working with us on open days, delivering campus tours, and he's now actually doing a master's degree at the University of Leicester. So absolute prime example of somebody. So anybody that is feeling a little bit unsure, my biggest recommendation is just get yourself booked onto WOW Week. One of the other questions that I think lots of people will probably have, and there's loads of questions, so, and I know there's somebody, Tom's in the background, beavering away answering the questions, so thank you, Tom, for that. But what about when students are submitting their UCAS application, and how you can help them prior to arriving, and that's something that actually it's better to sort of tick that box almost, isn't it, for your
Yeah, absolutely. So when you do your UCAS application, absolutely, definitely, it'll ask you if you have any disabilities or conditions. So if you do have a diagnosed condition, as I said, it could be anything. It could be long-standing, unseen, dyslexia, so specific learning difference, ADHD, autism. You know, it's better to be open and honest, because when you tick that box, it comes through to the Student Wellbeing Centre. So our service is completely confidential, but it notifies us, which means we can reach out to you to help arrange support sooner rather than later. Obviously, you can access it at any point, but if you already have a diagnosed condition and have been accessing support before, it's good for us to know so we can be prepared for when you start. We can talk about things like disabled students allowances with you, set up academic support ready for when you join, just get to know you a bit more. You'll get assigned a mental health and wellbeing advisor who will be someone who will be a really good point of contact with you. You know, if you've had any extensive support under, say, NHS services or anything, it's important for us to have an awareness of that and know what the expectations are moving forward and what's going to be available to you. And I know, as Vicky mentioned before, in terms of accommodation, sometimes we can help students if they have particular conditions and needs. That can sometimes, if we know that, can be helpful if you need a specific accommodation. Whilst it won't help secure a specific building, it can sometimes help if you have specific requirements for being able to live because of your conditions. So always get in touch with us. And if you don't have a diagnosis, but maybe you're seeking something and you just want to know support's available, just email us or call us. I'm always happy to have a chat.
Amazing. Thank you, Danielle. I'm going to let Danielle go now because she probably needs to just help Tom with some more of these questions. But I think the overarching sort of question really is, or answer to your question is, the support is here and this team are here. The wellbeing team are here to help whatever you come with. I've got questions about autism, dyslexia, time with your exams, all sorts of things, questions that are here, and all of those things are sort of absolutely day-to-day business for you. And
yeah, you name it, we can talk to you about it.
So please, when you come to an open day, hopefully you come and visit us physically and you're invited into an offer holder day. The wellbeing team are always there on hand to have one-to-one chats with as well, and also on the phone, aren't you, you know, during the application process. So and email. So please do that. Please keep in touch. It's always better to keep in touch, so that everything can be put in place once you start with us. Amazing. Thank you so much, Danielle. I'm going to say bye to you. Thank you very much. Now we're moving across to the Students' Union, which you can see here, and you can see the cathedral in the background. This is the Students' Union. That is the Towers bars, the library. This is Towers, which is one of their bars. And this is the area which we probably call sort of Library Square, with the library and the Students' Union and the engine shed and everything else like that. Hello, I am going to invite Rita who is our international Students' Union International Officer. Is that correct, Rita?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for joining us. So tell us, Rita, tell us a little bit about Lincoln Students' Union and what actually happens at Lincoln Students' Union, really.
Okay, so this is, we always say we're the fun part of university, if I have to say that. So welcome again, thank you for joining us. And I'm just going to tell you a bit about what the Student Union, what it is and what we do and what we offer to students. So the University of Lincoln Student Union, it is an independent charity organization that we put the experience of students at the heart of everything that we do. So from the time when you arrive on campus until when you graduate, even beyond when you graduate as well, we tend to always make sure that your time here in Lincoln is the best that you can possibly have. And when you come here, we achieve all of this through some of the activities, supports that we provide through so our services, through events and some campaigns that we run throughout the whole year, covering everything that has to do from sports and societies, volunteering opportunities, employability opportunities, and other ways that we try to also do a sense of lobbying that we make, which would help to make positive changes right here on campus. And some of those are all the things that we offer here on as this student union here in the university. We're just next to the library, literally. So you can see behind me, this is like our office space, and then the window behind us there, you can see from across from where I'm seated. But what we do generally is we tend to support students through advice that we offer in our services here. We do have an advice center where we offer advice to students regarding housing, finances, as well as academic opportunities. So we also do academic representation where we offer course representation, school rep, college reps, and we also do sports and societies that we also offer here from the SU. So we have over 150 societies in total in terms of sports and societies, academic societies, sports societies, academic societies, and social societies. So you have societies ranging from swimming, volleyball, canoe, rugby, badminton, all of that. We do have that here at the SU. And then we do have academic societies. So you have societies like graphics designing, art, theater art, and all of that. So we do a lot of that. And then we now have we just like the social sports as well. So there is juggling, there is so many things that you can actually do that we offer. There are different varieties that cut across that fit into almost everything that you are looking for, basically. But however, if you don't have, you see when you come in and you say, oh, I don't see the society I'm interested in, you can actually set up a society by yourself. It's quite easy to set up a society, and you don't need to have that whole members being there. You just set it up. You can be two of your friends wanting to start something that you feel like will be beneficial to other students here on campus. So we always keep that nudge, like, come on, go ahead, do it.
Brilliant, fabulous. And as you can hear, it's a really busy office that Rita works in. So apologies if you're not sort of hearing everything that Rita is saying, but it is such a vibrant sort of area in the Students' Union with so much going on. One of the societies that I always love is the Harry Potter Society. I always think that's a really brilliant one.
Emma, we do have the Taylor Swift Society, so and they've been putting up amazing events recently as well. And just to say the reason why you have like an echo behind it, because tonight is our Wednesday night. It's our popular night for our social.
So what happens on a Wednesday night at Lincoln? Tell me what happens on a Wednesday night at Lincoln.
So a Wednesday night here at the Students' Union, we have what we call the Quack Night. So it's our very big, it's our social nights, a midweek social nights where we have all the different societies, sports and societies, academics, everybody coming together. And it's not just those who are in those societies, it's open to all students on campus. So it's a way of come and let's have a bit of a relaxation in the midweek just to cool off. And it's a sellout. It's always a sellout because there you make friends and it's safe to come in here because when you come in here, there's adequate security. We make sure that nobody gets, you're feeling safe when you're coming in. Even when you don't have staff friends to come with, we always have that thing that we do that. Oh, come and meet us somewhere, and then we all coming together here to go to Quack. So tonight we do have staff that are just preparing ahead for tonight's event, and they're all themed events every Wednesday. And tonight we're doing musicals tonight, so all the high school musicals you can think of, that's what we're celebrating tonight. And another thing that is quite popular with our Quack Wednesdays, we throw out our ducks. So that is a very it's a very good thing because it's a thing of achievement when you catch a dog. It's like a collection of all the different series of dogs that we do. So I don't know for some reason why it's it's a big thing that all students look out for.
It is. You all look out for your quack dog. It's sort of legendary, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I think what you are explaining is how vibrant this the Students' Union is. There's also an awful lot of academic support and academic. You know, you can be a course rep, and you have all sorts of academic course reps as well, don't you?
Yes.
So it's not all about a Wednesday night. There's far more than that.
No. So yeah, we as I mentioned earlier on, we offer academic representation, and all of the things are in terms of the course reps, the college rep, the school rep. These are all students who all volunteer. I remember I mentioned earlier we offer volunteering opportunities. So the good thing is we just say, you know what, these are all students in your classroom, and these are not. You don't have to be the most confident or the most outspoken. Anybody can become a course rep. Anybody can become a school rep, or anyone can become a college rep. But it's always we always encourage every student who gets on campus to get involved. That way, you're helping you grow skills and gain skills for in terms of employability opportunities whilst you're done from here on campus and you're going, into the workforce. So those are the things that we always do. And while you become a course rep, we always try to give you some skill learning. So you do some extracurricular learning that will impact you whilst you're studying. So that's one of the things that we always make sure that get involved and improve yourself in other skills that you can transfer away from just classroom into when you get into the working environment.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alex. Yes, there is a cricket team.
Yes, we do.
There is a cricket team. Right, I'm going to say thank you very much, Rita. We are now going to move across to speak to Philippa about the admissions process. So now that Rita's got you very excited, we can talk about how to apply to the University of Lincoln. You can see here how close everything is. You can see that is our 3G pitch where lots of sports and societies happen, and how close everything is within the centre with the cathedral at the top of the hill. When you know that you're in Lincoln, you can see the cathedral for sure. Hi, Philippa.
Hi, Emma.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. So Philippa is our, what I'm going to call you tonight is our admissions manager. Philippa
Okay.
looks after all of our, I'm not quite sure what your actual job title is, but you look after all of everybody's application to the University of Lincoln, don't you? So you and your team beaver away, and we've already seen that Maisie's got her offer today, which is amazing.
Yes.
So we know that those offers are starting to be processed. But can you give us a little bit of an overview around what happens really with the application process, and give us a quick talk through how you apply and what the process is really, because now everybody's watching. You want to get press and submit on that UCAS form.
Yes. So for undergraduate applications, apply through UCAS if you're applying for full-time study at university. You go onto UCAS. You can then create an application. You can choose up to 5 different choices within one application. You can make those 5 different universities for the same course is what normally happens. And then once you've filled all the details out and you've selected your universities, you then submit it, and then the universities will receive it and process the application. They'll assess your academic qualifications. They'll review your personal statement, your reference, and all the other parts of the application that you've submitted to us. So there are other steps in the application process as well. So if, for example, there is an interview that's required, we'll then assess your application and send it to our teams out in the schools and colleges. They'll then review and then invite you to perhaps attend an interview before an offer is made. So that's it in a nutshell. We expect to turn around our applications. We've started application processing now, as Emma has said. We usually expect to turn our applications around within a week. If we can make you an offer and there's no further selection part of the process, we like to try and turn them around within a week. So that you're not waiting for offers from us.
And that was one of the questions already. But we've got a couple of questions about interviews. Now, interviews take a little bit longer than a week, obviously, because you've got to be interviewed.
Yes,
one of the questions from Jasmine is, are there interviews for law?
Not for our undergraduate programs, no. So you would expect, if you applied to us now, you would expect to receive an offer from us or a decision from us within a week. So yeah, there isn't an interview as part of the selection process for law.
We've got a question about, is there interviews from Sophia? Is there interviews for pharmacy? Now there is, isn't there?
There is, yes. So for pharmacy and for the majority of our health and social care programs, so we'll cover off that one as well. And for some of our arts programs, we do, there is an interview as part of the selection process. So for pharmacy specifically, again, your application will be sent to our pharmacy team to review, and then they will screen your application and invite you for an interview, to attend an interview. They'll give you a selection of dates to attend, and then you accept the interview, you attend the interview, and then they'll send the decision back to us as to whether you've been successful or not, which is when you'll get the decision from the university as to whether you got your place or not.
Amazing. We've got a question about personal statements, what you look for in a personal statement. So I know you will have some advice, but we are actually doing a live lounge next Wednesday evening. So Wednesday, 23rd of November at 5 o'clock. You can tune in, and we will have a session purely on personal statements and guiding you how to craft that personal statement. But as you're here, Philippa, what sort of just a top tip as to what you look for in a personal statement?
I think the advice is to show, if you're applying for the same subjects across all of your choices, I think to show your enthusiasm about the subject that you're applying for, obviously the reasons you're applying for it, and maybe include some of your previous study and research around that particular subject. Also outside of academic studies as well, what you've done in your spare time. So you might want to include in there something you've done in your personal life. We see a lot of students who have completed the Duke of Edinburgh Award, for example. So demonstrating, commitment to doing and working towards a goal. It includes anything personal that you've done outside of your academic skills as well, I think. But yeah, I think those are my top tips.
Brilliant. We have got loads and loads of questions. Everybody's really keen about whether you have an interview or not. Obviously, I think they're all jealous that Maisie's obviously got her offer already. There's all sorts of questions about interviews, and I'm not going to go through them all, but as you go to your subject session at 6 o'clock, then please ask those questions in that session, because I think that will help. And also, when you ask that question, then as Oliver has, you need to then ask whether those interviews are virtual or in person, because we have a variety across the whole university as to how we interview and how we conduct those interviews, and also portfolios as well, don't we?
Yes. Yeah. So some of our arts programs ask to submit a portfolio as part of the selection process. So I think just check the website on the individual course pages. It should tell you whether there's an additional part of the selection process, i.e. an interview, portfolio review, or any other additional part of the selection process. It should tell you on our website on the course pages.
It certainly does. I've got a question from Kelly. Same process application for mature students. So I'm guessing do you apply whether you're 17, 18 or whether you're 77?
Yeah, so if you're applying for full-time undergraduate study at university in the UK, then it is exactly the same process. So apply through UCAS. If you search UCAS in Google or any other search engine, go onto their website. There's lots of tips and advice on their website on how to submit an application. If you still need a bit of more advice, then please contact us and we can guide you through the process. If you email us at admissions@lincoln.ac.uk, we can obviously guide you through that process if you need some additional support in submitting an application.
A really good question from Andrew Clark. Do you have less opportunity to get in if my application is close to the application deadline?
No, so the application date of the 25th of January is what is called an equal consideration date. So what that means is that UCAS require us to consider all applications that are received on or before that date. So if you submit your application on the 25th of January, it will be considered equally as someone who submitted it in September. But any applications received after that date, we may not consider. If, say, for example, we've met our recruitment targets, we can start closing some of our programs. So on or before that date, your application will be considered regardless of when you submitted it.
Brilliant, thank you, and hopefully that will answer. I've got another mature question, as a mature student question as well. Got a question about. Now I've lost it. It was there. I did see it. It was about tariff points and how you calculate tariff points, which sometimes tariff points is sort of a bit sort of. Thank you, Tina. Judy has asked about tariff points, and I guess we understand it because we deal with tariff points every single day. But it sort of sounds a bit like a foreign language if you don't understand what tariff point is.
Yeah, absolutely. So each qualification and grade is given what is called a tariff score. And then we add those points up to give you your overall UCAS tariff score at the end when we receive your qualifications. If you want some guidance on what your qualification and grade equates to in terms of tariff points, you can use the UCAS tariff calculator, which if you Google it again, UCAS tariff calculator, it will come up in your Google search. And if you pop into there, you can search for the qualification that you are studying and then enter a grade, and it will tell you how many points that grade equates to. There's obviously lots and lots of qualifications out there. We as a university, we accept pretty much any qualification that's listed in the UCAS tariff. We don't just accept A-levels and BTECs. If you're unsure about the qualification you're studying and if we accept it or not, please do get in touch with us and we can advise you on how many points that equates to or what that qualification means in terms of equivalency to A-levels. So do get in touch with us if you're not sure. But yeah, use the UCAS tariff calculator. It's a great tool. We use it here when we're doing it as well. So
absolutely. Two more questions. Do you look for, and really quickly because I've got to get to Catherine, so that all these viewers can watch their subject sessions. Do you look for EPQs in an application?
Yeah, absolutely. We accept the EPQ alongside all of your other level 3 qualifications. So we'll take that into account in your overall tariff score at the when we receive all of your completed qualifications. We like students we love to see the EPQ because it's a research project. So we do accept it as part of your overall tariff score when we receive your other grades and qualifications.
And one final question. Is there a chance of receiving an unconditional offer?
Yes. So here at the university, so there's 2 unconditional offers that you might receive. So one unconditional offer is if you have already completed your qualifications. So it might be you've taken a year out, for example, and you're now applying to university and you've already got your qualifications. If you evidence those, we can then make you an unconditional offer. We here also at the university, we make an unconditional offers under our Guaranteed Places programme. And what that means is if an applicant has an excellent application, so in terms of academic ability, demonstrates a high standard of academic ability, a really good personal statement and reference, we will consider them for a Guaranteed Places programme offer, which is an unconditional offer, regardless of the grades that you achieve at the end. So yes, there's 2 ways that you can get an unconditional offer with us here at Lincoln. But if you have any questions about that, I appreciate I probably rushed through that a little bit, but if you have any questions about that, then please do get in touch and we can give you some more advice about what that means.
Absolutely. Any questions that you have, please email either enquiries@lincoln.ac.uk or admissions@lincoln.ac.uk, and we will be more than happy to help, because we understand that everybody is an individual and they all have very different questions coming with all different sorts of qualifications from all over the place, don't they? So thank you, Philippa, so much. And you are bound to see Philippa if you come to an offer hold today as well. And she is here to offer all of her wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon. So you will see here we've got even more footage of the university. You can see there the Lincoln Medical School, which is our newest building, and that is the Isaac Newton building. That's the library. And we bring yourselves all the way back round to Catherine. Catherine is here. Catherine heads up our funding team at the University of Lincoln and has every bit of knowledge that you need about your application for funding, what you're entitled to and for, and or every other variant that we can possibly have. Catherine.
Hello.
Mia has already asked. I know you've got somebody working, beavering away in the background, answering the questions, but Mia has sort of asked that big question: when on earth can you apply for your student loan?
Yeah, absolutely. Really good question and incredibly important. So usually you apply online and you apply in February. I'm as close as I can get. Student Finance basically open it in February. Once it's open, then you can fill in the application forms, and as long as they're done by the 31st of May, and that's everything done, you should get your money as soon as possible once you've enrolled.
Absolutely. So tell us what are you entitled to, and how do we know, how on earth would a student know what they're looking at financially when they come to university? Because it's one of those things that we've got everybody very excited, and now we've got to know how to fund it.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, there is some eligibility criteria, and if you're worried about anything, then send us an email or ask in the chat. But generally speaking, everyone can have a tuition fee loan, so you don't have to worry about your tuition fees. And then there's a means tested maintenance loan, and that's the money that they're going to give you to live on, to maintain yourself. Now, the means testing, it changes how much you could get, but it's generally between £4,000 and about £9,500, which is huge difference. I understand that, but they make that decision based on, for most people, your parents' income. Now, if you contact us afterwards, we do have some information about how you can kind of work that out, but there's some rough ideas.
Brilliant. And I'm just going to pause just 1 second, just to let everybody know that it is getting close to 6 o'clock. So if you want to jump off this session and go to your course session, please sort of navigate yourself from here to your course session. So go on to Lincoln, to the main website, where you can drop down your course and click into that session, which will go live at 6 o'clock. But we've got so many questions here, Catherine, that I just want to make sure that we're giving as much advice as we can while we've got them here. So one of the other questions is, are there scholarships for international students?
Oh, that is a really good question. So there are scholarships for international students. The best place to look is on the University of Lincoln website. Now, scholarships for international students are different from the student funding. So the funding I've mentioned isn't for international students. That's just for home UK students. However, on our website, there's a whole section about scholarships and bursaries. And if you click on one of the buttons on there, there's international. It'll take you just to the international scholarships and bursaries that you might be interested in.
Brilliant. Other questions. How is the students' loans calculated from your parents' wages?
Oh, excellent question. Well, I can't give you an answer, but there's basically a minimum. So the minimum is that you'll get about £4,000. And if you have a household income of, and I am guessing a little bit now, but about £70,000 or more, that's what you'll get. But if your household income is less than £25,000, then you'd get the maximum. So that would be about £9,500. And how much you'd get is varying between those two incomes. So as you can imagine, it's impossible to kind of give you that answer, but we do have some ready reckoners and things that we could email out if anybody really wants to see that information.
Thank you. And a question from Harry, which is a really good question, but I've never actually had, do you know what? I don't think in all my years I've actually had this question before, Harry. Will my income be factored in, even if I won't have it when I go to uni?
Do you know, that is a brilliant question. And the answer is, yeah, it is. If you are earning that money, so if it's from a job, then the answer is no. There are some extraordinary times when it is, but if you're talking about your part-time job, no, it won't be.
Brilliant. And Oliver has asked an equally good question. What if I apply for finance and then my household income changes before starting uni?
Yeah, that is an important question. So what usually happens is when they do the calculation, they do it based on about 2 years before, or at least a year before. So if your household income changes, you can ask for what's called a current year assessment. There has to be a change of 15% or more, but it does happen. People's jobs changes, people retire, all kinds of reasons. So there is the facility there to be able to do that.
Brilliant. And what if I live with one parent? Will both be accounted for? Another good question.
Yeah, these are really good questions. No. So what happens is it's household income. So it's the household that you live in. So if you live with mum or you live with dad, it'll be one of them. Now, if they've got a new partner that they live with, so you might have mum and stepdad or dad and stepmum, it would be those two people if they live together. It's the household that you live in, not the parents, if you see what I mean.
I do. And I'm going to take one final question for you, Catherine, from Faith, which again, I think there'll be lots of people sort of watching or probably likely to be watching back because it's 6:01 now. How and when do you apply for an allied health grant?
Ah, right. Okay. So yes, this is really important. What happens is you have to do it in certain orders. So what you first of all do is you apply for your student finance. Student finance do the checks that you're eligible. So they're the ones that do those. And once that's sorted, you then apply to the NHS for your allied health grant. And then it all kind of filters through like that.
Amazing. And does applying for finance require any certain documents to prove the income from Sophie, which I think is a brilliant question.
Yeah, absolutely it does. So what happens is you, the student, make your application and you give the information about your household, your parents, and then they need to provide, and for most students, it will be their parents' P60s, and they get that each year. It says how much they've earned, and it will be a P60 for a particular year that student finance will want to see. If you're self-employed, you provide accounts from an accountant will help you, but for most people, it's the P60 that you need to show.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Catherine. I'm going to have to call it there. We could be here all night with lots and lots of questions. Lisa has said the links to live subject talks are not working. So if somebody in the background could maybe give Lisa a little bit of advice as to where she needs to go, that would be amazing. Because hopefully subject sessions are now happening, so you can find out all about your subject and all about the University of Lincoln and how that works. We are here next Wednesday for a live lounge, which is a personal statement live lounge. So as I said earlier, how to craft that brilliant personal statement to support your application and help you along there. We hope that you apply to the University of Lincoln, and we equally hope that you get an offer from us, and we will see you in the new year in person. We've also got some physical open days still outstanding. If you feel as though you would like to come and visit us in person, you like what you see, then we've got an open day this Saturday, the 19th of November, and also one on Wednesday, the 7th of December. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck with your application, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you very much.
Get ready for a take. Mark it.
Action.